Tonight's program is going to be a flamethrower. You have been warned in advance. What happens when you're not wife material? What happens when you sit up here and listen to what folks told you about yourself 30 years ago? What happens when you are criminally out of touch with reality? What happens when you have entitlement issues and a bloated sense of value? Well, the inevitable happens. At least for a lot of you, the inevitable will happen, but for others, it won't happen only because the guy is so stupid. For those of you who may not have heard, it's being reported that Deion Sanders and his longtime girlfriend / fiance, one Tracy Edmonds, have split right after he was named Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year. Right after he got that, next thing you know, they announced they're breaking up. Or about the time he got Sportsman of the Year here a few days ago, they announced they're breaking up. Words going around about that. Some people are amazingly acting like they are shocked or surprised, and I'm like, what kind of silly rube do you have to be surprised? It shouldn't be surprising. Deion Sanders has already been married a time or two. The last marriage was especially brutal, and there was no way in the world he's going to walk back in that meat grinder. He's seeing about the sons he has and making sure that they're good, not him trying to re-enter the sexual marketplace and find some type of security. Furthermore, Deion Sanders is not a fool. Tracy Edmonds presents well. Tracy Edmonds has been around the industry. Tracy Edmonds has dealt with a few, but notable, had relationships with high-profile men. One was one Babyface Nelson, Kenneth Babyface Edmonds, for which she's carrying her last name. The second one, in case you all forgot, was one Eddie Murphy. Just in case you might have forgotten. Yeah, she said, let me go ahead and get on. And that didn't last terribly long. I know, you're shocked. So Deion took a look at that and he was like, well, you know how to handle yourself for the most part, and you know how to handle yourself around millionaires and with the spotlight on you. You're not a public embarrassment. But, baby, you are not marriage material. You're not wife material. So let me go ahead and ride this donkey as far as it's going to go. But yeah, I've told you all this before. The math is the math. You can not like it. You can dislike it. You can listen to some fast-talking dude in your bed or on your phone if you want to, ladies. Stupid is as stupid does. A man knows if you are wife material within the first 6 months of being with you. He knows if you're wife material. He knows if he wants to marry you within 6 months. Doesn't take us no 6 years. If this man is still with you 3 or 4 years later and has not popped the question, he's already made up his mind. Yeah, you ain't the one. You've shown him warning signs, you've shown him deal breakers, and he said, yeah, I don't want to be legally obligated to or strapped to that for the rest of my life. I don't want that. So what he does is he puts you in a position for which you are qualified. That's a tough pill for a lot of women to swallow, that, by the way, all the unearned goodies and presents that you expect to get from being married, particularly being married to a man who's a producer, when we tell you, but yeah, you're not a producer caliber woman. You can sit there and daydream all you want to, but that ain't you. Well, guess what? Tracy Edmonds, that ain't you, for a number of different reasons here. Let me go ahead and go into that right quick. I want you all to know that this is from Sportskeeda, and apparently they've disabled comments on their post. I went there earlier. Talking about Deion Sanders, his true feelings about Tracy Edmonds. You've been a true blessing, Deion said. Let his feelings be known. Okay, you go this way. They had the thing here. Now, this is what he said. And this is what a lot of folk didn't see or missed. Love you, Tracy, Sanders wrote, and you've been a true blessing to me. I appreciate the times we've shared and the laughs we've had. You are an amazing woman and a tremendous mother. God bless you with every endeavor and every step you take. You are her, Tracy Mack. Now, everything was okay for me until I saw that last part. Tracy Mack because I remember her maiden name is Tracy McQuarn. Tracy McQuarn is her maiden name, but ever since she was married to Kenneth Edmonds, she has been calling herself Tracy Edmonds. She has not let go of Kenneth's last name. She's been holding on to that as her security blanket ever since. And I have warned every single person who will listen to me, but particularly the males, I have warned you of the signs that the chick you with is still attached to the dude she was with, even if she, quote unquote, chose to leave him. Did she bring souvenirs with her? Did she bring vestiges with her? Did she bring artifacts with her? And in her case, she brought this man's name to every man that she has been with since. So you damn right, Deion Sanders, just seeing that alone would be a deal breaker. If he talked to me, I'm like, oh, that one by itself. Dude, she's been divorcing that man from how many years? She's had a whole second husband. What in the hell would you be doing? Marrying something like that. What would you be doing? It makes no logical sense. Deion has been with that woman for over a decade. Don't you know he's seen the grimy, seedy underbelly? He hadn't seen the her with the makeup and the hair done, and the both of them apparently there with their veneers. No hate, but like, yeah, I'm over it. This woman is still calling herself by her ex-husband's name, y'all. And when Deion addressed her, he didn't call her Tracy E. Might be a little friction between him and Kenneth, but he didn't call her Tracy E. He called her Tracy Mack. Now, why don't you explain that to me? The whole world knows her as Tracy Edmonds. Why is it that Deion on his way out the door did not refer to her as Tracy Edmonds? He referred to her as Tracy Mack. The 720 degrees of analysis that you will receive absolutely nowhere else. Tonight's program is going to be an opportunity for you to update your files.
Join me, and I will complete your training.
But my hat is off to Deion Sanders. My hat is off to him. I popped the collar to him because he's playing it straight. The man is at the highest level he's ever been, and this is post-NFL. He's at the highest level he's ever been. Right now, you can go to his page. Take a look and see what he posted here 4 days ago. Dreams don't happen overnight. You got to run dreams down 4 days ago. So in other words, when he was getting ready to announce that they get ready to break up, this is what he said 4 days ago. This is where he is. This is where his head is. This is where his mind is. This is where his heart is. He's still a competitor. Now let's go ahead and take a look at her face. You see her right there? She loving that? Because let's just keep it real. What has Tracy done? I'm a television producer, baby. If you don't sit down. If you don't sit down. She gets the shine from being next to a dude like that. From her standing in front of that NFL shield. Cameras aren't looking for her for them little old soap operas she put on. Cameras are looking at her for the man that she's standing next to, because her accomplishments as a woman, your accomplishments cannot be any bigger than the status of the man that you are with. If you have eclipsed the man that you are with, you have no status. Tracy Edmonds is able to retain her status because even as being the girlfriend to Coach Prime, she got cameras on her she otherwise would not have at 56 years old. What? I said at 56 years old. 56. Now, there's some of you fellas out there, you have gotten lost in the land of nostalgia. Some of you fellas out there, you don't give a damn how old she is. You gonna carry a candle. Every time you look at her, you've got dysphoria. Look it up. Every time you take a look at her, you've got this delusional hallucination. You still see her however she was the first time you met her. It doesn't matter how many crow's feet, how many lines, how many wrinkles, how many double chins. You just see her exactly the way you met her. Some of you fellas are suckers for that. But let's just keep it real here. She's 56 years old now. Coach Prime is literally at his prime. He is literally doggone near a god walking around college sports today. Why in the hell would he stay with Tracy Edmonds? Oh, I'm going to say it. Why in the hell would he stay with Tracy Edmonds when he can cash her in and trade her in for a newer model? You want to talk about your cars? He can cash her out and trade her in for a newer model. Oh, I said that. So why would he sit there and be on the top of his game and doesn't have every option in the world? What the hell are you talking about? This would be stupid of him at this point. If he's going to come grab him something younger, this is the time to be doing it when he's at the top of the world. Tracy, you done had 2 cracks at bat, baby. How many chances do you get? How many chances do you get? Hey, you chose Eddie Murphy, baby. It is what it is. If Nicole Murphy, another one holding the man's name, couldn't help but notice that. If Nicole Murphy could get back in with Eddie, she'd be doing it. If she could figure out a way to get back in, she'd be doing it. She would do it tonight if Eddie would open that door. And you know it. So you got a whole lot of chicks out here showing everybody here that you're not really wife material. You trying to get a sponsor, you trying to come up, but that's not what a wife does. You see, when you're dealing with a woman who wants to sit up here and talk about her accomplishments, or you know she's sporting that, I've done music and done movies. Okay, man, you can't marry that. She'll be sitting up here smiling in front of the cameras and trying to flex on you about her little penny in the ass soap opera when you behind closed doors like, we good on that. We're good on that. We're good there. So no, Coach Prime's playing it right. When you have a female who is so clearly not wife material, you do it like this. Hey, baby, you long-term girlfriend material. You're not wife material. Get over yourself. You're not wife material. You just ain't. You done tried it twice. You struck out twice. And I bet you even Tracy will admit that at this point. Yeah, I ain't really wife material like that. So anybody wanting to get upset because he was with her for 12 years. Yeah, they were the 12 best years that she's had. They're the 12 best she gonna get rolling into her 50s like a Mack truck. Stop kidding yourself. Somebody else who has done it, I'm not going to say they've done it smart because I don't think this is a bright idea here either, but for those of you who may not have heard here, you got in the news that Ashanti is pregnant, expecting her first baby with Nelly, according to some reports here. So Ashanti is out there, and after all these damn years and all these folk talking, by the way, Ashanti has gone off and become a baby mama. She hadn't dropped the load yet, but for those of you who are wondering about Ashanti and how that was going to end, and all of you silly, stupid, I'm going to say that, all of you silly, stupid dudes sharing these endlessly photoshopped, filtered pictures of her. Her pictures on Instagram are damn near AI. Some of you fellas are just so thirst bucket raggedy, it's pathetic. I didn't say she's awful. I'm just saying, man, since when you start giving, what kind of generation we have when you're giving thumbs up to a picture that is literally photoshopped and changed, has no relevance to reality whatsoever? You giving them props for the artwork? Is that what you're doing? Ashanti's show looked fine. No, Ashanti's airbrush artist looks fine. Ashanti's Photoshop artist looks fine. Some of you guys are so silly, it's sad. It really, really is. Well, guess what? Your girl Ashanti now She been running around with Nelly. And what did Nelly let her know? It's like, hey, baby, marrying, I don't know about all that there. I don't know about all that there, but okay, we'll go ahead and do that. Well, guess what? Ashanti is 43 years old. She's 43 years old, and after 2 decades in the music industry, everybody admits at this point here, you ain't wife material. That's not what you are. You're not wife material. You're just not. So Nelly is like, I'll get you pregnant, but marrying you. We'll see if he holds on or if she sits there and has him thinking, well, I didn't marry the other baby mamas. Let me go ahead and marry this one here. So he might do that. So far, he's already made one mistake. I don't think this is a bright idea because now you're on the hook. But maybe he can hang in there a little bit better. Some fellas, on the other hand, they just let temptation get the better of them. Some fellas, on the other hand, you're with a chick who is so clearly girlfriend material. She is so clearly not wife material. And you are, unfortunately, too naive or too dense or too desperate to just go ahead and let it be what it's going to be. Exhibit A, Jeezy. Young Jeezy is singing the blues. Let me go ahead and lay this out right quick. Jeezy sat up here and, ignored the fan base, ignored the community, ignored common sense, ignored all the warning signs. He was going to show us that we don't know what we're talking about and that this is his life and he got this under control. Does it look like he still has it under control now? Does it still look like he's got it under control now? Yeah, Jeannie Maya's going for her whole pension. Jeannie Maya's going for that whole pension. So's Ashanti. Ashanti said, hey, look here, let me see if I can go ahead and cash out for my whole pension. Let me go ahead and grab this kid and see if I can get you to sell your masters and your publishing or whatever else while I sit back and take the easy life. Let me go ahead and she heard that sound, everyone. She heard that sound. She was like, oh, hell no. It's coming due. It's coming due. I don't want to hang around this train station all this damn time. Let me go ahead and find a sucker. Find a sponsor. Find a dude. Let's go ahead and find a dude. This is the height of silliness. People, think about this for just a few moments. Let me go ahead and go back to Coach Prime. Because that's important. Folks, tell me, what kind of sense would that make for Deion Sanders to sit up here and do that? What kind of sense would that make for him at 56 years old? Why would he do such a thing? Why does he have to marry her? It makes no sense to do so. At 56, what is the extra added benefit that a man receives from marrying a 50-year-old female? What is the extra benefit you gonna get marrying her that you're not already getting dating her? What marrying her is going to increase the value of your relationship to her? How? Oh, it certainly raises the level of benefits she gets. But for you as the man, by the way, what are the extra benefits? What's the extra added value that you receive by marrying her at 50-something years old? If you agree that there is no extra added benefit, give me the fire emoji in the chat room and hit the likes button for me. There's over 2,000 people in here live in just the first 15 minutes. But if you agree with me that there is no benefit to doing that, give me the fire emoji. But if you think there is a benefit, give me the green check mark emoji. If you say there is no extra added benefit to marrying her, give me the fire emoji. But if you think there actually is some extra added benefit that you can receive for marrying a 50-plus-year-old, give me the green check mark emoji. It used to be that if a man sat up here and grabbed some chick who was that old, it was because he was done working, he was a widower, he was out of the marketplace, he was done progressing, he was done competing. Deion Sanders is still competing, ultra competitive, and not just that, he's ultra competitive and winning. He is winning attention. He is winning recognition. He is still out here competing at a high level and winning. Why on earth would he have a chick around him who ain't ready to do that? Why on earth would he have that? Makes no sense. Tracy Edmonds has already shown you her wife capability. It ain't really there. She cool people. Let it lie. Let it be what it's going to be. Because if you attempt to cross that threshold, and if you attempt to cross that line, and if you attempt to do what Jeezy has done, then that's going to make it even worse. Jeezy has sat up here and made a commitment to a female that everybody around him could tell him was a problem. Her first marriage told you it was a problem. The tattoos and the mannerisms told you it was a problem. Her attitude about black men, she likes her dark meat. Dude, there's every red flag warning sign known to man. And you ignored that, telling yourself you're pulling off something slick. You ignored it, telling yourself you're pulling off something slick. Now take a look at it. Now take a look. She's sitting up here saying she doesn't want him to see his daughter. She wants to have primary custody. She's saying that she wants primary physical custody. That's what she's saying, even though he makes much more money than her. Oh, she wants to have primary physical custody. Oh, dude, she's going for the jugular. She's going for the jugular. She's trying to get a whole pension. You two weren't married long enough for her to sit up here and get some real big alimony. Plus, she still works, so a big alimony payment is not in her future. So she's trying to do what Tyrese Gibson's ex-wife trying to do. She's trying to convert child support into alimony. She's trying to figure out a way to headlock child support and convert that into an alimony pension, since she's not actually eligible for anything else. But the bottom line was, I ain't said that Jeezy can't lay up with the broad. It was very obvious that's not wife material. So to the fellas out there who get so desperate and so dense that you fall for that, just understand it gets a hell of a whole lot worse. By the way, speaking of getting a hell of a whole lot worse, there are some things I wanted to go ahead and remind you all about. By the way, because we just did a program here last week, I was talking about Angela Simmons and how Angela Simmons got Yo Gotti on Thanksgiving standing with her and her son by another man, not with his kids, but with hers. She talking about, thank God, she's with his kid. He's standing with her kid by another man. He's there with her child, but not with his own. All right. But then again, there were some other things to keep in mind here because by the way, if from anybody out there trying to act as if Angela got her act together, Angela's so great, Angela's so fine, everything's so wonderful. By the way, did any of you remember this? Now, this was from the pandemic year. Any of you remember this? How many of you remember that? Most of you don't. I do. Most of you don't, and I do. 2020. Remember? She owed taxes in more than one place. Jason, are you serious? Oh, absolutely. More than one place. She was out there doing the most. From Essence Magazine, Vanessa and Angela Simmons are the latest celebs who may be getting an unwelcome call from the tax man. According to the Detroit Press, Daddy's girls reportedly owe $450,000 in back taxes. In March of 2011, the state of California filed a $39,538 lien against Angela, 24, and a $44,253 tax lien against Vanessa, 28. Oh, well, and that's just one state. You can't blame them because they got into a little tax trouble in one state. So certainly it's not as if this is a chronic issue or a symbol of a chronic character defect. Oh, wait a minute. Angela was then hit with more liens in April and May by the state of New York, totaling $159,714. The same happened to Sister Vanessa in November and December, equaling $180,315. Because of additional liens from New York State, the sisters reportedly owe the government a combined total of $450,478. To any idiot, any jackass, any moron sitting up here trying to question me about the wisdom of this and who is getting the better deal, hell, who's getting anything at all? Where's Yo Gotti's tax lien? In 2 or 3 different states. In 2020, she owed money in California. She owed money in New York. And oh yeah, then you take a look around and she owes more money in more places. New Jersey now. Now she owes $50,000 for a penthouse that she was living in New Jersey. The landlord's like, hey, all that photo bombing she was doing on Instagram in our penthouse, by the way, she didn't pay us. By the way, all that stunting she was doing on Instagram on the balcony from her, quote, penthouse, by the way, she never paid us. And don't you all know that she went from this? She went from what you see on your screen. She went from this to this. Ain't that amazing, the timing of it? Isn't the timing of that amazing? How many of you are sitting here and saying to yourselves, that timing is amazing? Why, Jason, that's just one big coincidence. By the way, folks not liking the program here, so I'll go ahead and wrap things up here in a few moments. But some of you are saying to yourselves that timing, oh, Jason, that's just a big coincidence. That at the time that she owes tax liens and she's getting evicted from the penthouse, that all of a sudden it was, hey, boo, coming through. Hey, boo, you know, I've been thinking about you. And, you know, I was just thinking to myself, I really need to give him another. He's got a big heart. I was thinking, I just didn't appreciate you. Now I've had a little bit of time to think it over, and I just didn't appreciate you properly. So, you know, if I could have just done a little bit better, if I had a second chance, I would do things so much differently, bae. I really, really would. If I could have just done it, if I could turn back time. Yeah, I'm sure this is all one big coincidence that at the time that she's sitting behind the 8 ball and at the time that she's owing out her ears, she owes everyone she sees, and now she sees everyone she owes because now they're all sitting up here catching up to her. All of a sudden now, Yo Gotti looks a whole lot better. Let me tell you fellas something. You want to look absolutely ravishingly handsome to a female? Catch her when she's in debt and your money is straight. All of a sudden, you went from the ugly frog to Prince Charming. All of a sudden. Yeah, they loving that. All of a sudden. When you're dealing with non-wife material, you're supposed to handle that a certain way. You're supposed to do that a certain way. Want to give a shout out here to my man, WayHep31. Thank you very much for your contribution here in the Super Chat. We appreciate that, as always. Also, a shout out here to Ivy the Great and Tom Slick. Thank you very much for your support here as well as everyone else here who has contributed over Cash App, Super Chat. Thank you very much for your support. And Venmo very much for your support. We appreciate that. I'm doing a nice program here about dealing with non-wife material. And if you make the improper choice, if you do the wrong thing, if you grab the wrong chick, if you bet on the wrong horse, fellas, there is no shame and there's no problem with telling a chick the damn truth. Baby, you ain't wife material. You're just not. Why don't we just keep the kind of relationship that we can actually maintain? But as far as marrying you, no, you're not wife material. And that's not an insult. If a man is not a professional quality athlete, women don't consider it to be an insult to tell him that he's not an athlete. And if a man isn't a player, females have no shame in telling him to his face, you know what? You're just not a player. They have no problem saying that. If a guy doesn't have swag, she gonna let you know, hey, you ain't really got swag like that. But when it comes to the men, all of a sudden you think the way to deal with women is to lie to them. That's why they have this outrageously inflated sense of ego. You want to hear about somebody else with an outrageously inflated sense of ego? You want to know the kind of thing that feeds the Tracy Edmonds of this world? This kind of stuff right here. Ruby Rose got some dude, he paid 62 grand to meet her in person. Now, I don't know if she turned any tricks, but this is how much he paid just to meet her in person. So fellas, if you want to know what is powering the simp economy, the simp economy is booming right now. That's the reason why you can't tell these chicks anything and you can't convince them of nothing. The simp economy is booming. You got fellas paying tens of grands just to meet a chick. You will never be able to tell her again another day in her life that she ain't that broad. Anybody else is going to have hell getting her back down to earth. She's not going to hear it. That's not what it's going to be at all. Recognize when you're dealing with wife material, but more importantly, recognize when you're just dealing with girlfriend material. And there is no shame in leaving it at that. That's a position she can actually play. That's a position she can actually maintain. That's something she can actually do. There's no insult there to doing that. However, people don't like the program here tonight, so we're going to go ahead and shut things down. I want to thank everyone who's contributed to tonight's program on PayPal, CashApp, Super Chat, Venmo, and this concludes tonight's broadcast of The Business. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, Mr. Jason Black, and until next time, my brothers and sisters from around the world, remember, handle your business, or the business will handle